Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here with us today. We're going to embark on a really fascinating journey. We're starting with a deeply revered ancient indigenous practice and tracking its evolution all the way into a super specific modern method for spiritual reconnection. It's a beautifully structured path, and we're going to break the whole shebang down step by step so you can truly grasp both its history and exactly how to use it.
So, have you forgotten who you truly are? Wow. It's kind of a heavy question, right? But honestly, if we're being real with ourselves, it is so incredibly easy to get completely bogged down by the daily grind. We get swept up in all this human drama, the bills, the relationships, the endless to-do lists, and before we even realize it, we lose touch with our true original intentions. We basically forget that deeper, spiritual part of ourselves.
And that brings us perfectly to this quote from Alyce Dylan. She writes, "Somewhere along the way, however, most of us completely lose touch with this intention and become wholly absorbed in this human experience." This right here, this is the core problem we're addressing today. It's that profound disconnect between our messy, everyday human experience and our much deeper spiritual intentions. Okay, let's dive into this and look at our roadmap. First, we'll cover ancient roots, modern practice. Then, the science of forgiveness, followed by Alyce Dylan's spiritual adaptation. After that, mapping the four intentions, and finally, beginning your daily practice.
Section 1. Ancient Roots, Modern Practice. The Evolution of Ho'oponopono. Now, before diving into today's specific spiritual focus, we really need to understand how this practice evolved. Looking back pre-20th century, Ho'oponopono actually originated in native Hawaiian society. It was this beautiful family or community-based process led by an elder, a kahuna, to restore collective balance after wrongdoing or sickness. So it was really all about kinship and shared responsibility. Then, moving into the 20th century, we see a massive shift. It was adapted by Hawaiian practitioners like Morna Simeona and later by psychologist Ihaleakala Hugh Len into a simplified individual self-cleansing practice. And while that brings us to the present day, where the contemporary practice focuses completely inwardly. People use it to clear our memory, an issue, or an internal relationship.
To really cement this shift in your mind, let's look at the traditional format versus the contemporary one. The traditional format is a group confession. It's led by an elder and aimed at external communal repair. On the flip side, the contemporary format is an individual mantra with an inward focus aimed at self-cleansing and internal repair. Now, we're not diminishing either format here, not at all. Rather, we're looking at a really fascinating evolution of application. The core values of healing, they're still there, but the target has just moved from the community directly to the self. Section 2. The Science of Forgiveness. Analyzing the efficacy.
So now that we've got the history down, it's worth noting that Ho'oponopono carries some profound psychological plausibility. Look at these elements: acknowledgement, apology, forgiveness, gratitude, and loving kindness. These are the exact components embedded in the four phrases of the practice. And guess what? They align perfectly with established therapeutic processes. Psychology actually tells us that working through these specific steps reduces resentment and really promotes overall emotional well-being.
But what does the actual hard data say about all this? Well, under case reports, the current status is promising, showing real, tangible benefits for stress reduction and emotional healing. However, when we look at high-quality randomized trials, they're scarce. That means the scientific evidence is preliminary. It's not totally conclusive yet. And under considerations, researchers point out nonspecific effects. Basically, this means the benefits might overlap with things like the placebo effect, focused attention, or just cultural factors. So the big takeaway here, while it has immense self-help value, it shouldn't replace clinical care for serious conditions. Think of it as a complementary practice.
Section 3. Alyce Dylan's Spiritual Adaptation, Reconnecting with the Self.
Now, what's really interesting about this next part is how we pivot from using this tool for psychological or external conflict resolution to using it for deep internal spiritual repair. To understand Alyce Dylan's adaptation, we first need to define what she calls the eternal spirit self. According to her, this is a spiritual entity that exists just a few layers of frequency above your daily human experience, but, and this is absolutely vital, it is always connected and always with you. I want you to literally visualize this right now. Picture your eternal self hovering just a few frequencies above you, just waiting to reconnect.
Section 4. Mapping the four intentions. The core of the practice.
Okay, this is the climax of our explainer. We're going to break down Dylan's hyper-specific spiritual application of the four traditional phrases. The first phrase is the classic mantra, "I'm sorry,"
But the intention you are holding in your mind while you say it is, that I got distracted with all this human life drama. You see, you aren't apologizing to another person here. You are apologizing directly to your own spirit self for getting so utterly absorbed in the physical world that you just kind of abandoned your spiritual connection.
Let's move to the next phrase and see how this builds. The mantra is, please forgive me. And the specific intention you hold is, for having forgotten who I truly am, which of course you will forgive. Notice the confidence in that intention? Because you are communicating with your higher self, there's this inherent understanding that forgiveness is an absolute given. You are simply acknowledging the forgetfulness.
Moving right along, the third phrase is, thank you. The intention you are broadcasting to your eternal self here is for both hanging in there with me and for the forgiveness. This is about profound gratitude for the patience of your spirit self. Despite all your human distractions, that higher frequency part of you has endured. It's maintained the connection, and it's offered total, unconditional forgiveness.
And the final phrase in the sequence is, I love you. The intention here is to recognize that, in the truest sense, we are connected with a bond of pure love. This wraps up the mapping by reinforcing that unbreakable foundational bond between your human form and your eternal form. It essentially seals the bridge you are building.
Section 5. Beginning your daily practice. Actionable steps.
We've covered the history, the science, and the specific intentions. Now let's move into the resolution of our explainer and outline exactly how you can execute Dylan's method today. Putting this into practice requires a daily ritual. Step 1, sit quietly without distractions. Step 2, visualize your true eternal spirit self exactly like we discussed earlier. Step 3, repeat the 4 mantras with the specific spiritual intent. Now, it's really important to note you only need to say the traditional short mantras, whether aloud or silently. Just, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. But, and this is the key, as you say them, you absolutely must actively hold Dylan's expanded, specific intentions in your mind.
So the crucial point here is the number 19. According to Alyce Dylan's guided practice, 19 is the minimum number of times you should repeat this 4-phrase sequence. You can certainly carry on as long as you need to until you truly feel a shift in your awareness, but you really want to aim for at least 19 repetitions to properly honor the practice and begin rebuilding that bridge.
I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. How will your human experience change once you repair the bridge to your eternal self? If you can quiet the human drama and truly align with that higher frequency, what becomes possible for you? It's a fascinating question, and I really hope this explainer has given you the structured tools to find out for yourself. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey today.